वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकथा मह्यं ददान्ति सुपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरि ओम तत्सत। हरे कृष्णा। So I'll share the screen. Nectar of devotion. Okay. So before that, last week there was a sloka for learning. Which was that?
Yajna Santu.
Yes. Who wants to recite that first?
Manoj Prabhu first.
Yes. Simi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Krishna, have you learnt?
Yes.
Please recite.
Yeah. 1 minute. Yajna Shishtasino. 1 minute Prabhuji. Yajna Shishtasino Santo.
Muchante.
Yajna Shishtasina Santo Muchande Sarva Kilbishai.
Bhunjade.
Ishvara. Bhujante te tva agam papa. Ayyo, bhujante te tva aham papa. Ye bhajanti atma karanat.
You have to revise a little more.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Niranjan is going to.
Niranjan, yes, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, you can remove that mask.
Yajna Shando. Muchende sarva kilbishe. Bunji dete tu agam papa. Ye bhajante atma karana.
Very good. Very good. And who else? Parvati Mataji?
I have not learned Prabhuji. I didn't know about this.
Acha. Mini Mataji?
Sorry, Prabhu.
Okay. Manoj Prabhu? Or Archana Mataji? Yes, you want to recite?
I will recite for you. Yajna Santo Muchante Sarva Kilimbashe Bhujante te Toda Papaye Panchayati Karanat.
എവിടുന്ന പപ്പായ വന്ന
പപ്പായ കഴിച്ചു.
I learned what is written in Hindi.
Prabhu ഇതൊരു എത്ര നല്ല ഉഗ്രൻ ലീല പ്രഭുവിനോ പപ്പായ കൊടുക്കാതെ എല്ലാരും പപ്പായ കഴിച്ചു പ്രഭു.
ഓടി പപ്പായയിലെത്തി.
Without giving papaya, everybody has consumed papaya, Prabhu.
പ്രഭുജി ഈ തെറ്റ് പറഞ്ഞപ്പോഴേ ഞങ്ങള് രണ്ടും പറഞ്ഞതാ അത് പപ്പ അല്ല അഹം പാപ.
നന്നായി പഠിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്.
ഹിന്ദിയില് വായിക്കുമ്പോ പാപ്പ എന്നല്ലേ
यत्न शिष्टाशिनो संतो मुच्यन्ते सर्व किल्बिषे भुञ्जते ते तगं पाप
अकं पाप
अगं पाप
ये भजन्ति
ये भजन्ति आत्मकारणात्. Okay. Okay. Anyone else?
Can we say?
Yes.
Yes. Yatna shishtasina santo muchyante sarva kilbishe bhunjate te tvakam papa ye pachantyatma karanat.
Very good. Archana Mataji,
Aditi.
Aditi,
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Yajna Shishtasena Saho Muchyante Sarva Kilpisha Pujante Te Taham Paba Ye Pachanti Atma Karanat.
Very good. Rupeshri Mataji,
यज्ञशिष्टासिना सन्दो मुच्यन्ते सर्वकिल्बिषे भुञ्जते ते अकं पापं ये पचन्त्यात्मकारणः.
very good. Prabhu,
പ്രഭു നോക്കി
നോക്കി വായിച്ചാൽ മതിയോ പ്രഭു?
റീഡ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് പ്രഭുജി കുഴപ്പമില്ല. കൺസിഡറേഷൻ
നോക്കി വായിക്കാം. ഓക്കെ.
ട്രാൻസ്ലേഷൻ പറഞ്ഞു പ്രഭുജി.
ഹരേ കൃഷ്ണ പ്രഭു, ഒരു മിനിറ്റ് പ്രഭു, ഞാൻ എടുക്കാം. യെസ് പ്രഭു.
പറയൂ പ്രഭുജി.
നോക്കി വായിച്ചാൽ
വായിക്കാം, കുഴപ്പമില്ല.
3.13 അല്ലേ പ്രഭു?
യെസ്.
यज्ञशिष्टासिना सन्तो मुच्यन्ते सर्वकिल्बिषः भुजन्ते ते त्व अगं पापा ये पचन्ति आत्मकरणात्. भुञ्जते.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Raju Prabhu, you are there that time?
Yeah.
You know, you can recite.
यज्ञ शिष्टाशिनो संतो मुच्यन्ते भुजन्ते पापये पचनात्मकारणात्.
Okay. Anybody else? Vandana Mataji, Uttama Bhakti Mataji, Chinmay Mataji.
Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, would you mind to tell me once again? That's all. I'll write it in next class. I will learn.
This is 3.13. Bhagavad Gita 3.13.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Prabhuji. I will.
Okay. So for next week, I'll give one more. That is 3.14. Okay. Annad bhavanti bhutani parjanyad anna sambhavaha yatnyad bhavati parjanyo yatnya karma samudbhavaha. Okay. Annad bhavanti.
I mean, this has been given before.
It's already given?
Yeah. Before Corona.
Okay. What about others? They know it?
Sorry, Prabhuji.
Anyway, once again. Annad bhavanti bhutani parjanyad anna sambhavaha yatnyad bhavati parjanyo yatnya karma samudbhavaha. Okay, 3.14. Maybe you might have forgotten. Everyone remembers this?
I think we have learned this earlier, Prabhu, but not memory, Prabhu. No
December
memory.
vacation, Prabhuji,
Maybe.
10 slokas like that you had given, na?
Revise it. So next time everyone should recite without mistake because I already learned it. Okay. So now I will try to share the nectar of devotion.
Prabhuji, Path wants to say shloka.
Parth, please recite.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yajna Shishtarshina Santo Muchyante Sarva Kilbishay Bhujante Te Tvagam Papa Ye Pachantyatma Karanat.
Ribol. Munchade. Okay, let me share. Hare Krishna. So we have to start from chapter 20, right? Nectar of devotion. Okay. Very good. Transcendental mellow. In this second division of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the author offers his respectful obeisances unto Sanatana. This Sanatana can be interpreted as either Sri Krishna himself or as Sanatana Goswami, the elder brother and spiritual master of Rupa Goswami. In the case where Sanatana is accepted to mean Sri Krishna, the obeisances are offered to Krishna because he is naturally so beautiful and because he is the killer of the demon Agha. If it is interpreted to mean Sanatana Goswami, then it is because he is so greatly favored by Rupa Goswami, being always saved by him, and because he is the annihilator of all kinds of sinful activities. In this division of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the author wants to describe the general symptoms of the transcendental mellow, loving mood of discharging devotional service. So before starting this chapter 20, second division, Rupa Goswami is offering his respectful obeisances to Sanatana. So since it is just mentioned Sanatana, Prabhupada is telling that it can be interpreted as the elder brother of Rupa Goswami, that is Sanatana Goswami, or Lord Sri Krishna, because he is also Sanatana, eternal. So in either case, he is paying his respectful obeisances. So in this division of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, there are 5 general topics. Vibhava, special symptoms or causes of ecstasy. Anubhava, subsequent ecstasy. Satvika Bhava, constitutional or existential ecstasy. Vyabhichari Bhava, aggressive ecstasy. And Sthayi Bhava, fervent or continuous ecstasy. So I'll be mostly reading it. I won't be able to explain this. These are very high topics. So whatever I know little, then I will try to explain. Okay? Or if you want to share something, you can also intervene and do that. Is that okay?
Haribol.
Haribol. Because these are all topic beyond our understandings, very, very high. But still, just for at least we can, whatever little that we can digest, we'll try to. Okay. So in this division of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, there are 5 topics which already: Vibhava, Anubhava, Satyo Bhava, Vyabhichari Bhava, and Sthayi Bhava. These are the 5 topics that Rupa Goswami is going to explain in the second division of Nectar of Devotion. The word rasa used in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is understood by different persons differently because the exact English equivalent is very difficult to find. But as we have seen our spiritual master translate this word rasa into mellow, we shall follow in his footsteps and also translate the word in that way. So we all know that one Sanskrit word, contextually it gives different meanings. So in different contexts, the same word can give different meaning. Can you give any one word that has different meanings in Sanskrit? Anyone? Okay, I'll tell you. Atma. Okay, Atma can be interpreted according to context as soul, mind, and sometimes body also. So if the person who is translating this subject matter doesn't know proper Sanskrit, it is very difficult. So according to the context, the word meaning changes. That's why it is very difficult for for anyone to give an equivalent word meaning, and sometimes for some Sanskrit word there is no equivalent word meaning. For example, Shraddha. Okay, the word meaning for Shraddha in English is given as faith, but it's not just faith. Shraddha is a very, very in-depth meaning. Faith is not the equivalent word, but there is no other word in English, so we have to use that. So that is what here Prabhupada is telling, that the equivalent word for rasa has been given as mellow by his spiritual master, and he wants to follow in his footsteps. So the particular loving mood or attitude relished in the exchange of love with the Supreme Personality of Godhead is called rasa or mellow. The different types of rasa when combined together, help one to taste the mellow of devotional service in the highest degree of transcendental ecstasy. Such a position, although entirely transcendental to our experience, will be explained in this section as far as possible, following in the footsteps of Srila Rupa Goswami. Which are the 5 mellows, primary mellows? Can anyone say? Anyone? Which are the 5 primary rasas?
Sakya Bhava.
Yeah, give me all the 5. You know, in order.
First one. Dasya Bhava, Sakya Bhava,
First, what is it?
Valsalya Bhava.
In order, in order.
Shantarasa.
Yeah, Shanta.
Yes. Dasya,
After Shanta, what?
Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Valsalya,
Madhurya
Madhurya.
Bhava. Madhurya.
Okay, total how many rasas are there?
9.
12 Kana Prabhuji. 12.
How many?
12.
12. Yes. 5 primary rasas and 7 secondary rasas. Okay. Without relishing some sort of mellow or loving mood in one's activities, no one can continue to perform such activities. Similarly, in the transcendental life of Krishna consciousness and devotional service, there must be some mellow. You know, if we don't have any taste or any interest in the subject matter, we will not do that activity, right? It will be totally boring. So in Krishna conscious activity also, we should be doing that activity on some particular, you know, attitude or mood or some taste or mellow. Otherwise, we won't be able to continue that service. So whether it is material activity or spiritual activity, we should have some interest in that activity. So generally, this mellow is experienced by chanting, hearing, worshipping in the temple and being engaged in the service of the Lord. So initially, to come to the platform of, you know, these 5 primary rasas, we have to experience, you know, the taste in chanting, hearing, worshipping in the temple and being engaged in the service of the Lord. So when a person feels transcendental bliss, that is called relishing the mellow. To be more clear, we may understand that various feelings of happiness derived from discharging devotional service may be termed as mellows of devotional service. So the happiness that we derive by doing the spiritual activities can be termed as mellows of devotional service. This relishing of transcendental mellow in discharging devotional service cannot be experienced by all classes of men, because this sweet loving mood is developed only from one's previous life's activities or by the association of unalloyed devotees. So mechanically or artificially we cannot, you know, create this mood. You know, this is either we have to get it from the previous life's experiences or by the compassion of the unalloyed devotees. When we associate with such unalloyed devotees, they can give us this rasa. So either of these two will help us to enjoy these different rasas. As explained above, association with pure devotee is the beginning of faith in devotional service. Only by developing such faith in the association of a pure devotee, or by having in one's previous life executed devotional activities, can one actually relish the mellow of devotional service. In other words, this transcendental bliss is not to be enjoyed by any common man unless he is so extraordinarily fortunate as to be in association with devotees or to be continuing his previous birth's devotional activities. So as we all know, when we leave body, you know, whatever we have, the impression, the desires, you know, everything is carried forwarded to the next life. So if we have practiced Krishna conscious activities, Krishna consciousness in this particular life, definitely, you know, in our next life, at a particular point of time, we will continue from where we have stopped. So that's why we are somehow or other coming in contact with some devotees and try to practice Krishna conscious activities. Or if somebody is very extraordinarily fortunate, they will get the association of Vaishnavas, pure devotees, and by their mercy also we can get this mellows of devotional service. The gradual process of development to the stage of devotional service is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. First canto, the beginning is to hear about Lord Krishna in the association of devotees, who have themselves cleansed their hearts by association. Hearing about the transcendental activities of the Lord will result in one's feeling transcendental bliss always. It is also explained in Bhagavad Gita that for one who has actually come to the spiritual platform, the first symptom visible will be that he is always joyful. So, beginning is hearing, Shravanam. Even Prahlad Maharaj also says the same thing, Shravanam. So, we have to hear, and that too from whom we should hear? We should hear from pure devotees. So, pure devotees may not be, accessible always. So, what do we do? Yeah, what is the way out? Sometimes we are in.
We can read the Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Shastra. Like
Yes.
that
Yes. So we can read Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, such literatures, given compiled by pure devotees. So there is no difference.
Also, Bhagavad is full of stories about devotees.
So there is no difference from hearing from pure devotees or reading from pure devotees compilation. Okay? So we have to. Then another thing is, when we hear from such devotees, what happens? The consciousness which is now contaminated will slowly and gradually gets purified, and as it purifies, will enjoy the joy of reading and hearing such a transcendental literature. So we should practice. This should be joyfully done. This should be joyfully performed. Not that it should not be a burden. Oh, I have to read Srimad Bhagavatam, I have to read Bhagavad Gita, I have to read this. No, it should be joyfully performed. It is Krishna consciousness is not an artificial imposition on the mind of the reader or performer. We have to joyfully perform this activity. So for that, we have to continuously listen from pure devotees or continuously read and discuss about Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam and other such literatures. And we have to beg from all these saintly personalities so that we can release these transcendental literatures. So this joyous life is attained by one's reaction to reading Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, or else from associating with persons who are very interested in the spiritual life of Krishna consciousness, specifically those who have made the determination to achieve the favor of Govinda by being engaged in the transcendental loving service at his lotus feet. Being encouraged by such a feeling, one who is constantly engaged in discharging the regulative principles of devotional service in such a way as to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead develops two principles of compelling force which come under the heading of Vibhava. Thus one enjoys transcendental bliss. So any points? Or somebody wants to share something? Okay, so we'll go further, we'll read further. There are several origins or causes for this compulsive love of Krishna, such as Krishna himself, the devotees of Krishna, and Krishna's playing on the flute. The effect is sometimes loving and sometimes stunted. There are 8 transcendental symptoms found in the body during ecstasy. That is called Ashta Sattvika Vikara, I think, right? And all of them are possible only by a mixture of the above mentioned 5 ecstatic divisions. So who can say that 5 ecstatic divisions which we have given in the first para? Who remembers that? Anyone? 1 or 2, whatever you remember?
Vibhava, Anubhava, Satvika.
Anubhava, Satvika.
Satviki bhava, Vyabhichari bhava, Sai bhava.
Yeah, Sai Bhava. Okay. Very good. So,
This is a nature.
without some mixture of these 5 ecstatic principles, one cannot relish transcendental bliss. Okay. So it's a mixture only. It's mixture of the above mentioned 5 ecstatic illusions. Without some mixture of these 5 ecstatic principles, one cannot relish transcendental bliss. The cause or basis for relishing transcendental mellow is exactly what we mean by vibhava. This vibhava is divided into 2, namely basic and impelling or impetus giving. In the Agni Purana, the description of vibhava is given as follows. The basis from which ecstatic love is born is called vibhava, which is divided into 2, basic and impelling. In other words, there are 2 kinds of ecstatic love. The object of basic ecstatic love is Krishna and his devotee. Lord Krishna is the object of basic ecstatic love, and his pure devotee, a reservoir of such love, is the object of impelling ecstatic love. Impelling ecstatic love then is that love which develops when one sees an object that reminds him of Krishna. So these are the vibhava is again divided into 2, basic and impelling. So the object of basic is ecstatic love of Krishna and his devotees, and the other one, impelling, is when we are reminded of Krishna and pure devotees by seeing something else, some objects. Right? That love is developed when one sees an object that reminds him of Krishna. For example, gopis, when they see the dark bluish color clouds in the sky, they are reminded of Krishna. Okay, something like that. So these are the 2 different. So these are the 2 different, divisions of vibhava. Lord Krishna, who is the possessor of inconceivable potencies and qualities of transcendental knowledge and bliss, is the basic cause of ecstatic love. Lord Krishna also becomes the reservoir, impetus of ecstatic love by his different incarnations and expansions. In Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a statement in connection with the Brahma Vimohana Leela, which demonstrates something of this impelling or impetus giving feature of ecstatic love. When Brahma was deluded by Krishna, who expanded himself into so many cowherd boys, cows and cows, Krishna's elder brother Sri Baladeva, a direct expansion of Krishna himself, felt astonishment and said, "How wonderful it is that my ecstatic love for Krishna is again being attracted to so many cowherd boys, cows and cows." He was struck with wonder by thinking in this way. This is one of the examples in which Krishna himself becomes the object and reservoir of ecstatic love in the impelling aspect. So we all know this Brahma Vimohan Leela. Okay, even Lord Balarama, who is the first expansion of Lord Krishna, didn't know about this Leela initially. Only after the Leela was over, Lord Balaram came to know about this. So he was getting too much attracted to cows and cowherd boys. How is that he was getting so much attraction to cowherd boys, cows and cows? Because they were none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, expanded in the form of cowherd boys, cows and cows. So that is the reason that he was getting more and more attracted to them. So this is also an example given by Rupa Goswami. So we'll go to the next. Qualities of Krishna. Okay. Personal features can be divided into 2. One feature is covered and the other feature is manifested. When Krishna is covered by different kinds of dress, his personal feature is covered. There is an example of his covered personal feature in Srimad Bhagavatam in connection with his Dwaraka Leela, his residence in Dwaraka as its king. Sometimes Lord Krishna began to play by dressing himself like a woman. Seeing this form, Uddhava said, "How wonderful it is that this woman is attracting my ecstatic love exactly as Lord Krishna does. I think she must be Krishna covered by the dress of a woman." So Krishna is sometimes covering himself and disguising some other personality. Even then, whether covered or uncovered, people are getting attracted to Krishna. So this is what Uddhava is telling. One devotee praised the bodily features of Krishna when he saw the Lord in his manifested personal feature. He exclaimed, "How wonderful is the personal feature of Lord Krishna! How his neck is just like a conch shell. His eyes are so beautiful, and though they themselves were encountering the beauty of a lotus flower, his body is just like the tamara tree, very blackish. His head is protected with a canopy of hair. There are the marks of Srivatsa on his chest, and he is holding his conch shell. By such beautiful bodily features, the enemy of the demon Madhu has appeared so pleasing that he can bestow upon me transcendental bliss simply by my seeing his transcendental qualities." So this is his manifested form. Anyone and everyone gets attracted to Lord Sri Krishna. That's how Lord Krishna presents himself. Very, very beautiful. Srila Rupa Goswami, after consulting various scriptures, has enumerated the transcendental qualities of Lord Krishna as follows. So how many qualities are there? Anyone?
64, Prabhu.
64, yes. One second. Srila Rupa Goswami, after consulting various scriptures, has enumerated the transcendental qualities of Lord as follows. Beautiful features of the entire body, marked with all auspicious characteristics, extremely pleasing, effulgent, strong, ever youthful, wonderful linguist, truthful, talks pleasingly, fluent, highly learned, highly intelligent, a genius, artistic, extremely clever, expert, grateful, firmly determined, an expert judge of time and circumstances, sees and speaks on the authority of the Vedas or scriptures, pure, self-controlled, steadfast, forbearing, forgiving, grave, self-satisfied, possessing equilibrium, magnanimous, religious, heroic, compassionate, respectful, gentle, liberal, shy, the protector of surrendered souls, happy, the well-wisher of devotee, controlled by love, all auspicious, most powerful, all famous, popular, partial to devotees, very attractive to all women, all worshipable, all opulent, all honorable, supreme controller, the supreme personality of Godhead, and has all these 50 transcendental qualities in fullness, as deep as the ocean. In other words, the extent of his qualities is inconceivable. Okay. So here the first 50 qualities have been given by the Rupa Goswami. Maybe further he will give down. Okay, it's coming. So now can anyone give an example of each and every one of these qualities? Is it possible? Or is we can give some homework. So for example, Lord Krishna is artistic. How can you establish that he is very artistic? He is very genius. He is extremely clever, an expert. So you have to, substantiate this quality of Lord Sri Krishna. Excellent. Is it possible? With some example, with some leela connected to that. And grateful, family determined. Not next class, not now. So each one can take some 5 qualities. And what you can do, you can send it in our group.
Yes, Prabhu, Nitai Sevani Mata's class is there about 64 qualities.
What is that?
Nitai Sevani Mata's class is there in English also. The 64 qualities he explained it nicely.
Okay. So Nitai Sevani Mataji. So you can listen to that and give that. Anybody, and not necessarily all should do that. 5 each. Who wants to take up this? 5 qualities each.
I will be there, Prabhu.
Okay. So not now. You take time. If not next class also, because nice, to get to know. We know that Lord Krishna is having so many qualities. So to get what type of qualities are there and how we can relate that with some pastimes or something. Maybe in 1 line, 2 line, 3 lines we can explain. So how can we divide this?
Prabhu, yeah, like Prabhu, forgiving like Putana.
Yes.
Like that.
Yes, like that. Something, whatever, connected Leelas we can. So there are 64. And how many are there today in our class?
15.
16 us. So that will be enough. Each person takes 5, that will be more than enough. Okay. So who wants to give this 5 each to different devotees? We cannot, I'm not going to do it now. Can anyone take up this seva? Distributing this 5 each to each devotee. Who can take up?
Haribol Prabhu.
Prabhuji, you want to take up? Fine. Okay. So you can allot 5 qualities to each of the devotees attending today.
Haribol Prabhu. Haribol.
Okay. Hare Krishna. So we'll read further. As parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord, the individual living entities can also possess all of these qualities in minute quantities, provided they become pure devotees of the Lord. In other words, all of the above transcendental qualities can be present in the devotees in minute quantity, whereas the qualities in fullness are always present in the Supreme Personality of God. Now see, this is a difference. The difference between us, the parts and parcel, and the Supreme Lord. What is the difference? The Lord possesses all of these qualities in full, 100%. Whereas we possess the same qualities in minute quantities, not all of them, some of them. If we possess all these qualities in minute quantities, then we are eligible to become pure devotees of the Lord. So besides this, there are other transcendental qualities which are described by Lord Shiva to Parvati in the Padma Purana. And in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, in connection with the conversation between the deity of the earth and the king of religion, Yamaraja. Okay. So beside this 50, Lord Shiva is also giving other transcendental qualities as given in Padma Purana in a conversation between himself and Mother Parvati. It is said therein, persons who are desirous of becoming great personalities must be decorated with the following qualities: truthfulness, cleanliness, mercy, perseverance, renunciation, peacefulness, simplicity, control of the senses, equilibrium of the mind, austerity, equality, forbearance, facility, learning, knowledge, detachment, opulence, chivalry, influence, strength, memory, independence, tactfulness, luster, patience, kind-heartedness, ingenuity, gentility, mannerliness, determination, perfection in all knowledge, proper execution, possession of all objects of enjoyment, gravity, steadiness, faithfulness, fame, respectfulness, and lack of false egotism. Persons who are desiring to become great souls cannot be without any of the qualities. So we can know for certain that these qualities are found in Lord Krishna, Supreme Soul. Okay, and now further from 51 they are giving. Okay. Besides all these above mentioned 50 qualities, Lord Krishna possesses 5 more, which are sometimes partially manifested in the persons of Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva. These transcendental qualities are as follows. So beside the 50, Lord Krishna possesses more, which are sometimes partially manifested, not fully. Okay, partially manifested in the persons of Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. These transcendental qualities are as follows: changeless, all cognizant, ever fresh, Sachidananda, possessing an eternal blissful body, possessing all mystic perfections. Okay. Krishna also possesses 5 other qualities which are manifest in the body of Narayana. Now these 5 more qualities which are not manifested either in Lord Shiva nor Brahma. So these are manifested only in the body of Narayana, and they are listed as follows. He has inconceivable potency, uncountable universes generate from his body. He is the original source of all incarnations. He is the giver of salvation to the enemies whom he kills. He is the attractor of liberated souls. All these transcendental qualities are manifest wonderfully in the personal feature of Lord Krishna. Okay, now how many? 60 over, right? Besides these 60 transcendental qualities, Krishna has 4 more which are not manifest even in the Narayana form of Godhead. What to speak of the demigods or living entities. So these 4 qualities which we are going to give or read is exclusively for Krishna only. Nobody else, not even Narayana. So what to speak of demigods and other living entities? They are as follows. He is the performer of wonderful varieties of pastimes, especially his childhood pastime, Leela Madhurya. He is surrounded by devotees endowed with wonderful love of Godhead. This is Prema Madhurya. He can attract all living entities all over the universe by playing on his flute, Venu Madhurya. He has a wonderful excellence of beauty, and that cannot be rivaled anywhere in the creation, Rupa Madhurya. So these are the 4 exclusive qualities that only Krishna possesses, no one else. So like that, there are 64 qualities. Okay, Hare Krishna. So we'll move further. Adding to the list these 4 exceptional qualities of Krishna, it is to be understood that the aggregate number of qualities of Krishna is 64. Srila Rupa Goswami has attempted to give evidences from various scriptures about all 64 qualities present in the person of the Supreme Lord. So from this we understand that Lord Sri Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, not Vishnu, nor Narayana, nor Brahma, or Lord Shiva, or any other demigods, because he possesses all the 64 qualities. Even Lord Narayana or Vishnu doesn't. So Lord Krishna is on in fact there is no difference between Lord Krishna and Vishnu, but still technically speaking, if somebody asks who is superior, Krishna, and from this we can establish that. Is it clear? Haribol? So we'll move on to the next. Beautiful bodily features. Any comparison of the different parts of the Lord's body to different material objects cannot factually be a complete comparison. Ordinary persons who cannot understand how exalted are the bodily features of the Lord are simply given a chance to understand by material comparison. It's said that Krishna's face is as beautiful as the moon. His thighs are powerful just like the tongues of the elephants. His arms are just like 2 pillars. His palms are expanded like lotus flowers. His chest is just like a doorway. His hips are dense, and the middle of his body is a terrace. So this is, how comparison, material comparison is given, to explain about Lord's bodily features. We cannot give any equivalent terms materially. That's why whatever possible they are giving. They are just, most of the time we are, comparing lotus, different limbs of the Lord's body. But that is the, the nearest comparison and the best comparison that can be given. So there is no proper comparison, but still, these acharyas are trying to give some material comparison so that we can understand the bodily features of the Supreme Lord. Auspicious characteristics. There are certain characteristics of different limbs that are considered to be very auspicious and are fully present in the body of the Lord. In this connection, one friend of Nanda Maharaja, speaking about Lord Krishna's auspicious bodily symptoms, said, "My dear king of the cowards, I can find 32 auspicious symptoms on the body of your son. I am wondering how this boy could have taken his birth in a family of coward men. Generally, when Lord Krishna appears, he does so in a family of Kshatriyas, kings, as did Lord Ramchandra, and sometimes in a family of Brahmanas. But Krishna accepted the role of son of Maharaja Nanda despite the fact that Nanda belonged to Vaishya community. The business of the Vaishya community is trade, commerce, and the protection of cows. Therefore, his friend, who may have been born into a Brahmana family, expressed his wonder at how such an exalted child could take birth in a family of Vaishyas. Anyway, he pointed out the auspicious signs on the body of Krishna to the boy's foster father. So a friend of Nanda Maharaj is asking, how is that such a high, exalted personality has taken birth in a Vaishya family? Usually, such great personality takes birth either in Brahmana or Kshatriya family. And he is finding 32 auspicious symbols on the body of Krishna. How many auspicious symbols are there in our body? Yes, can we count?
Prabhu, the divine search is still on. Nothing to find, Prabhu.
Very good. Okay. So he continued, this boy has a reddish luster in 7 places. His eyes, the ends of his hands, the ends of his legs, his palate, his lips, his tongue, and his nails. A reddish luster in these 7 places is considered to be auspicious. 3 parts of his body are very broad: his waist, forehead, and chest. 3 parts of his body are short: his neck, thighs, and genitals. 3 parts of his body are very deep: his voice, intelligence, and navel. There is highness in 5 parts of his body: his nose, arms, ears, forehead, and thighs. In 5 parts of his body, there is fineness: his skin, the hairs on his head and on the other parts of his body, his teeth, and his fingertips. The aggregate of all these body features is manifest only in the bodies of great personalities. So these are the different description given as the auspicious symbols found in the body of Lord Krishna. The fate lines on the palm are also considered to be auspicious bodily symptoms. In this connection, one old gopi informed King Nanda, your son possesses various wonderful fate lines on his palms. There are signs of lotus flowers, the weeds on his palms, and on his soles there are the signs of a flag, thunderbolt, a fish, a rod for controlling elephants, and a lotus flower. Please observe now how auspicious these signs are. Pleasing. Beautiful bodily features which automatically attract the eyes are called ruchira, pleasing. Krishna possesses this attractive feature of ruchira in his personal features. In the 3rd canto, 2nd chapter, verse 13 of Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a statement about this. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, in his pleasing dress, appeared at the scene of the sacrificial arena when King Yudhishthira was performing the Rajasuya sacrifice. All important personalities from different parts of the universe had been invited to the sacrificial arena, and all of them, upon beholding Krishna there, considered that the Creator had ended all of his craftsmanship in the creation of this particular body of Krishna. So this is the statement. Creator had ended all of his craftsmanship in the creation of this particular body of Krishna. Who is the creator and who is the created here? Krishna is the creator and Krishna is the created. It is said that the transcendental body of Krishna resembles the lotus flower in 8 parts, namely his face, his 2 eyes, his 2 hands, his navel, and his 2 feet. The gopis and the inhabitants of Vrindavana used to see the luster of lotus flowers everywhere, and they could hardly withdraw their eyes from such a vision. Effulgent. The effulgence pervading the universe is considered to be the rays of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The supreme abode of Krishna is always throwing off the effulgence known as Brahma Jyotir, and that effulgence is emanating from this body. So whatever light or effulgence that we experience, we see, is coming from the bodily rays of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The luster of the horse of jewels fixed on the chest of the Lord can defeat even the luster of the sun, and still, when compared with the bodily luster of the Lord, that crest of jewels appears to be only as bright as one of the stars in the sky. Therefore, the transcendental influence of Krishna is so great that it can defeat anyone. When Krishna was present in the sacrificial arena of his enemy, King Kamsa, the wrestlers present, although appreciating the softness of the body of Sri Krishna, were afraid and perturbed when they thought of engaging with him in a battle. So his soft, very, very soft body, even Kamsa was afraid. How can he engage this person in the battle? Because so soft his body was, strong. Person who has extraordinary bodily strength is called Baliyan. When Krishna killed Arishtasura, some of the gopis said, "My dear friends, just see how Krishna has killed Arishtasura." Although he was stronger than a mountain, Krishna plucked him up just like a piece of cotton and threw him away without any difficulty. There is another passage wherein it said, "O my dear devotees of Lord Krishna, may the left hand of Lord Krishna, which has lifted Govardhana hill like a ball, save you from all dangers." So there are, I think Rupa Goswami is giving many examples of all these 64 qualities. So you can take from this also. Okay, ever youthful. Krishna is beautiful at his different ages, namely his childhood, his boyhood, and his youth. Out of these three, his youth is the reservoir of all pleasures and is the time when the highest varieties of devotional service are acceptable. At that age, Krishna is full with all transcendental qualities and is engaged in his transcendental pastimes. Therefore, devotees have accepted the beginning of his youth as the most attractive feature in ecstatic love. At this age, Krishna is described as follows. The force of Krishna's youth was combined with his beautiful smile, which defeated even the beauty of the full moon. He was always nicely dressed, in beauty surpassing even Cupid. And he was always attracting the minds of the gopis, who are thereby always feeling pleasure. Wonderful linguist. Rupa Goswami says that a person who knows the languages of different countries, especially Sanskrit language, which is spoken in the cities of the demigods, as well as other worldly languages, including those of the animals, is called a wonderful linguist. It appears from this statement that Krishna can also speak and understand the languages of the animals. An old woman in Vrindavana, present at that time of Krishna's pastimes, once stated in surprise, how wonderful it is that Krishna, who owns the hearts of all the young girls of Vrajabhumi, can nicely speak the language of Vrajabhumi with the gopis. While in Sanskrit, he speaks with the demigods, and in the language of the animals, he can even speak with the cows and buffalo. Similarly, in the language of the Kashmir province, and with the parrots and other birds, as well as in most common languages, Krishna is so expressive. She inquired from the gopis as to how Krishna had become so expert in speaking so many different types of language. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He can communicate in whatever language. Suppose we know only one particular language, he will communicate in that. So even he is communicating with the animals in their own language, which generally people cannot communicate. Yes, there are certain people who can communicate, but any language, you take any language, he can communicate with the devotees in that particular language. So that is Krishna. Truthful. A person whose word of honor is never broken is called truthful. Krishna once promised Kunti, the mother of the Pandavas, that he would bring her 5 sons back from the battlefield of Kurukshetra. After the battle was finished, and all the Pandavas had come home, Kunti praised Krishna because his promise was so nicely fulfilled. She said, even the sunshine may one day become cool and the moonshine one day become hot, but still your promise will not fail. Similarly, when Krishna, along with Bhima and Arjuna, went to challenge Jarasandha, he plainly told Jarasandha that he was the eternal Krishna, present along with the 2 of Pandavas. The story is that both Krishna and the Pandavas, in this case, Bhima and Arjuna were Kshatriyas, warrior kings. Jarasandha was also a Kshatriya and was very charitable toward the Brahmanas. Thus, Krishna, who had planned to fight with Jarasandha, went to him with Bhima and Arjuna in the dress of Brahmanas. Jarasandha, being very charitable toward the Brahmanas, asked them what they wanted, and they expressed their desire to fight with him. Then Krishna, dressed as a Brahmana, declared himself to be the same Krishna who was the king's eternal enemy. Pleasing talker. Person who can speak sweetly even with his enemy just to pacify him is called a pleasing talker. Krishna was such a pleasing talker that after defeating his enemy Kaliya in the water of the Yamuna, he said, "My dear king of the snakes, although I have given you so much pain, please do not be dissatisfied with me. It is my duty to protect these cows, which are worshipped even by the demigods. Only in order to save them from the danger of your presence have I been obliged to banish you from this place." Kaliya was residing within the water of Yamuna, and as a result, the back portion of that river had become poisoned. Thus, so many cows who had drunk the water had died. Therefore, Krishna, even though he was only 4 or 5 years old, dipped himself into the water, punished Kaliya very severely, and then asked him to leave the place and go elsewhere. Krishna said at the time that the cows are worshipped even by the demigods, and he practically demonstrated how to protect the cows. At least people who are in Krishna consciousness should follow in the footsteps and give all protection to the cows. Cows are worshipped not only by the demigods. Krishna himself worshipped the cows on several occasions, especially on the days of Gopashtami and Govardhana Puja. So here Rupa Goswami also emphasized the importance of protecting cows. Not only human beings, even demigods protected cows, and Krishna himself protected the cows. He also showed in various occasions that he is worshipping cows. So we also should follow in their footsteps. Fluent. A person who can speak meaningful words and with all politeness and good qualities is called Vavaduka, or fluent. There is a nice statement in Srimad Bhagavatam regarding Krishna speaking politely. When Krishna politely bade his father, Nanda Maharaja, to stop the ritualistic offering of sacrifice to the rain god, Indra, a wife of one village-covered man, became captivated. She later thus described the speaking of Krishna to her friends. Krishna was speaking to his father so politely and gently that it was as if he were pouring nectar into the ears of all present there. After hearing such sweet words from Krishna, who will not be attracted to him? Krishna's speech, which contains all good qualities in the universe, is described in the following statement by Uddhava. The words of Krishna are so attractive that they can immediately change the heart of even his opponent. His words can immediately solve all the questions and problems of the world. Although he does not speak very long, each and every word from his mouth contains volumes of meaning. The speeches of Krishna are very pleasing to my heart. So usually we speak a lot, but with few words he can impress the listeners, and not an in-depth meanings also. So speaking less but conveying a lot is also an art. So there are many people also, they don't speak much, but they can convey many meanings or too much with that few words that they speak. So this is also an art. Highly learned. When a person is highly educated and acts strictly on moral principles, is called highly learned. A person conversant in different departments of knowledge is called educated. And because he acts on moral principles, he is called morally stout. Together, these two factors constitute learning. Krishna's receiving education from Santivani Muni is described by Sri Narada Muni as follows. In the beginning, Lord Balarama and others are like clouds of evaporated water from the great ocean of Krishna. In other words, Brahma first received the Vedic education from Krishna, as the clouds receive water from the ocean. That Vedic education is instruction which was spoken by Brahma to the world was then reposed upon the mountain of Sandipani Muni. Sandipani Muni's instructions to Krishna are like a reservoir of water on the mountain, which flows as a river and goes again to mix with the source, the ocean of Krishna. To be more clear, the idea is that Krishna actually cannot be instructed by anyone. Just as the ocean does not receive water from any source but itself, it only appears that the rivers are pouring water into the ocean. So it is clear that Brahma received his education from Krishna, and from Brahma, by the disciple succession, the Vedic instruction was distributed. Sandipani Muni is likened to the river which is flowing down again to the same original ocean of Krishna. So nobody can give education or Vidya to Lord Krishna. No, he is the originating source, and it is only just like the example is given, the ocean, getting from water from rain, and how the rain is coming from ocean itself. The source is ocean itself. Similarly, whatever Sandipani Muni is teaching Krishna is originating from Krishna himself. The Siddhas, the inhabitants of Siddhaloka, were all are born with fully developed mystic powers, and the Charanas, the inhabitants of similar planet, pray to Krishna as follows. My Lord Govinda, the goddess of learning, is decorated with 14 kinds of educational ornaments. Her intelligence is all pervading within the 4 departments of the Vedas. Her attention is always on the law books given by great sages like Manu, and she is apparelled in 6 kinds of expert knowledge, namely Vedic evidence, grammar, astrology, rhetoric, vocabulary, and logic. Her constant friends are the supplements of the Vedas, the Puranas, and she is decorated with the final conclusion of all education. And now she has acquired an opportunity to sit with you as a class friend in school, and she is now engaged in your service. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, does not require any education, but he gives a chance to the goddess of learning to serve him. Being self-sufficient, Krishna does not require service of any living entity. Although he has many devotees, it is because Krishna is so kind and merciful that he gives everyone the opportunity to serve him, as though he required the service of his devotees. He is Atma Rama. Okay? He is self-sufficient. He has everything within himself. But it is his mercy that he gives opportunity to his dear devotees to serve him. So regarding his moral principles, it is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam that Krishna is ruling over Vrindavana as death personified to the thieves, as pleasing bliss to the pious, as the most beautiful Cupid to the young girls, and as the most beneficent personality to the poor man. He is as refreshing as the full moon to his friends. And to his opponents, he is the annihilating fire generated from Lord Shiva. Krishna is therefore the most perfect moralist in his reciprocal dealings with different kinds of persons. When he is death personified to the thieves, it is not that he is without moral principles or that is cruel. He is still kind, because to punish thieves with death is to exhibit the highest quality of moral principles. In Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna says that he deals with different kinds of persons according to their dealings with him. Krishna's dealings with devotees and with non-devotees, all the different, are equally good, because Krishna is all good. His dealings with everyone are always good. So Krishna deals with the different people in different ways, but in whatever way he deals with, everything is ultimately good for those people. Krishna. So we'll stop here.
So nicely.
So we'll start next week from 12. Okay. This is 21, chapter 21, and topic 12, highly intelligent. Okay, please make a note of that, and I will stop the sharing now. Please put on the videos.